Hey Logo Core students! So before we jump into Illustrator and we start designing the logo, I want to find some more reference footage, right? We have the keywords, we're pretty much ready to go, but I want to be inspired by some photography or see something that sparks my imagination. Now, it's not to say that this already doesn't spark my imagination, but perhaps there's something I'm missing. Perhaps when there's something to do with mountains or going up in high altitudes or something with pins or locations, maybe I'm missing something. So I'm gonna browse around for inspiration and see if there's something that I can find per se to infuse in my work or try a new art direction. But when I say that I'm looking for inspiration, it's a word that I don't use very often just because when most people say inspiration, they say that they're inspired by something and it ends up being a copy of something. But because you're a student, you should never, or because you're just a student of design, you should never try to copy someone's work. And you should never try to build work based on someone else's work. And it might sound obvious, right? You would never steal work. But you can do that in a very small sense and it can start to add up. And here's what I mean by it. Let's say that you're creating, in this case, a ski world logo, right? And you're searching for mountains, locations, and pins, but then you kind of want to see what other designers have made that's related to mountains. So you go on Dribbble, you go on Behance, and you start searching up mountain logos. And then you start slowly being inspired by their style. And you might not even notice it, but you'll start to take their elements, take their ideas, take their composition, and even though it's not direct reference, you're being inspired by them and you're creating a work that's almost like cloning them. You're not retracing it, but you're not creating original work, right? You're not inspired by something you see or something that you sketched. You're inspired by someone else's work. You slightly modify it, you don't even realize that you modified, and you present it to the client. And they might not notice it, but other people in this community, in this creative community, will. So, whenever you're starting to search for references, never search for what other designers have created in that same topic per se, right? So I'm making a location logo. I'm going to make sure that I'm not looking at other people's location-based logos, other GPS logos, other traveling logos. I'm going to avoid that as much as possible because I don't want to be inspired by another designer's ideas who was probably inspired by a photo or something he drew or sketched or saw in real life, right? I don't want secondhand creativity. I want something that's going to inspire me to create an original logo. I'm not going to look at other people's logos and create an original logo from it. It's just not going to work. Also, there's a slight caveat because if you're going to start looking at other people's work before you finished your own work, you're going to hit depression, and it's going to be pretty painful. Because once you start comparing your work to someone's finished work, you're always going to feel bad and almost unworthy, because how can you ever be on the same level or an equal to when someone else created the logo already and you haven't? You're always going to feel like you're out of ideas, like you can't make your own logo better than this already, because you're just going to be comparing your work. And your entire day is going to transform into scrolling on Pinterest and comparing yourself to other designers and ultimately not creating something inspiring and original. So, if you're ever creating a logo, just don't go searching out for other people's work. Just stay to yourself, sketch to yourself, and think of your own ideas. Be inspired by the world around you and not the finished products other designers are showing for other designers for critiques, right? Or even finished products. So in this case, let's just go up and we have real world data. We have visualize entire area. So something with globes, areas, maybe streets. Even the streets doesn't work in this case. Prices, conditions, and availability. So something maybe to do with filters and options. Explore the best. Definitely needs some kind of exploration aspect to it. Ideal location. So something with maybe pins. Pins is something I've been thinking about for the beginning of the brief when we first received it. Strengths is that they're going to be notified, so we could see what happens there. Informed decisions, discover amazing locations. So I'm actually going to go all the way down and start writing that out. So keywords. So I'm going to do location, mountains. Let's do notifications. What else can we do? We have amazing locations, but that's just locations, right? So we can do maybe hotspots. Let's do travelers, traveling, nomads, right? Those are all almost related keywords, and you can use a thesaurus to find more. So discovering could be another thing. So discovering, do we do exploring? Exploring. So data driven. Filtering. Information, location, preferences. Kind of hard to put that in. Notifies me of the perfect condition. So again, something that helps the user find the perfect product. So almost like a waitlist maybe. Do we do unique locations? Unique locations. And we also have, because there's ways to filter out through, let's do from unique locations to, depending how we want to search for it and how we want to phrase it, almost like unlimited possibilities. Right? So these are our spelling with the spelling mistakes. So these are our basic keywords. And if we miss something, again, informed decisions, traveling, I think we put that in, explore the best, visualization, real world data. Do we do visualization? Yeah, that's on the second page. But you get the idea. We just got some keywords and we're going to see what we can find from it. Now, when searching for inspiration, it's always important to actually keep track of what you saw and put it in a folder almost. And you have a lot of options of how to do this. If you're on Windows or Mac, there is a great application called PureRef. And PureRef lets you actually just, it's almost like a sketchbook almost. It allows you to copy and paste photos into this blank application, resize it, and then it has these really cool options where you can put it on the very top of your Illustrator. So you can switch from Illustrator to Photoshop, and PureRef will always stay on the top. Pretty cool app. But my experiences on Mac is that it's a bit slow. On Windows, it's actually pretty great. So that's something to keep in mind. On Pinterest, you have the ability to create your own collections and make it private, so then all the images you find on Pinterest or on the web can just go on this web-based collection. But in my case, I'm going to show you a cool app called Adobe Bridge, and if you're a designer, you've probably heard a lot of jokes about this beforehand, but it's actually a really good application, even though people really give it a lot of hate because it opens up too slowly. But either way, you can drop photos in here, and in this case, this is how Bridge opened up for me. You can make a new folder, put it in the favorites, and then save images right here. They can scale the images up, scale images down, go one by one, and it also has this really cool way of keeping track of your metadata. So let's say I have one big reference folder of sci-fi images, right? And I actually do, sci-fi reference here. And with each photo, if there's something really unique about it, so let's say I'm looking for red hairstyles or specific gun styles, I can tag it with a metadata, so almost like a keyword. And I can search that entire reference folder just for specific keywords. And it makes my life a bit easier, just because I can have one larger reference folder and then just narrow it down. But in this case, we have one folder just for keyword. There's going to be no point of creating specific keywords, just because I don't think we'll have that many references. But either way, this is the essentials. We have film strip, metadata, keywords, but this will probably make more sense when there are images in here. So let's just start looking. So let's see if we can do anything for mountain. People are going up to these high altitude places, and let's see what these images consist of. Let's see what their composition is, and if we can derive some sort of element from it. Alright, so this is interesting, even though it's another designer's work, and this came across accidentally. I see that there's a lot of different type of mountain compositions here, which could be very interesting just because you can arrange them in different ways. This is a very beautiful image. We have the sun hitting the mountain. So in this case, I'm just going to click it. I'm going to do save image as and put it in my ski world folder. Save it. And then it should pop up in Adobe Bridge here. It does. We can make it larger, smaller, however we want. But in this case, I quite like the photo. The sun hitting it is pretty cool. We have the infinite roads, which could be pretty cool to put in the logo, but in this case I kind of don't like the composition. Again, I like the colors in here. So I'm going to do save image as, put it in here. And I'm pretty much just searching for images that I can use for color. Ooh, this is a really great one. Look at how the yellow just contrasts with the black. Really cool image. So we're going to put it in as well. and we'll just continue scrolling. It's almost like a mood board. That's another word for what we're doing. But we're just trying to see if we can use real world photography and real world items to infuse into our logo design. Like, we're trying to reflect the company, right? And the company allows users to travel to these unique locations. So we're just trying to see what these unique locations are. And it's pretty great that we're doing this, because I see some designers sometimes just hopping into Illustrator and instantly trying to create a logo from nothing, from just what the designer or client told them. And even worse, sometimes they just go looking at other people's work and try to create something similar. But that's a cop-out. And it's not going to be that fun when you're designing in the long run. You want to create original work that speaks to you, because you have this unique voice and you should use it. So again, this image is amazing. It's not generic, it's very unique. It's a lot of these unique elements that users can filter out from. And just the colors, man. The colors are amazing here. Just the orange going straight up into this yellow moon. It's perfect. This is actually a location I'd love to visit. Let's see if we can find something else before we switch topics. We have tattoos here. Bunch of trees, but I don't think trees should be the focus here. I think that'd be too foresty or too almost like an environmental logo, which is not the mood that we're going for. Again, lots of green, but again, this is for the winter season, so that's not something I'm interested in. Kayaking, same exact idea. That's not something we're selling in this logo. Exploring could be a cool thing. An explorer almost, so I'll put that in. But it's also hard because in the original brief, we mentioned that this is for, let's see if I highlighted it. Professionals looking to practice, novice levels seeking recreational activities, and travelers who want to explore at different slopes and areas. And if we just put a human here, we're not showcasing that it's professionals, it's more for travelers, so then we're excluding the group, and exclusion is usually never a good thing. So scroll down, see what we got. And this is, for example, just Pinterest, which is one of my favorite sites, just because they curate so much work. And if you actually find one image you like, you might actually want to see if there's other images in that sort of collection. And let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So let's go to boards. And these are going to be boards or collections, handmade collections that people have already made. So it's not going to be curated by an algorithm, it's going to be curated by a human being. And you're going to get, again, obviously, much better results. So we can go to mountain, let's say, and let's see what this person created. And this has images specifically for mountains. Nothing I'm too interested in, but you kind of see that this is handmade and handpicked. So another actually great gallery you can all go to is on Pinterest. It's called Archilect. And this is, again, another algorithm inside the Pinterest algorithm that collects images. And it might not be anything specific to, let's say, Ski World, but there's sometimes really cool color compositions and just imagery in general that might inspire you, just based off how the image was framed, the colors that were used, and sometimes you can infuse that in. Like if you were making a Galaxy logo, this would be a pretty cool reference. For typography reference, this would be pretty cool, because we're looking at it like a Japanese culture, right? We're not just staying inside our own, we're exploring. And yeah, in general, this is also a very cool way to explore. But you have to keep in mind that when you do this, try not to get stuck, because it's very easy to infinitely scroll down and down and down, not get any work done. Try to quickly curate images and then get into Illustrator. But make sure you curate some images first. So, great image of a mountain here. Love the blue colors. So I'm actually going to save that. So save image as Ski World. And I'll close this tab. We also have another amazing site called Unsplash. And these are images that you can use for free. And we'll be using the site later on to make free mockups. And the benefit of this site is that if we ever use these images to present it to the client, put it on Behance, Pinterest, or just present our work with. So let's say there's a picture of a mountain here and we put our logo and the client's quote in the photography part that we talked about recently, of how the client can use a user's blurb to help promote a social media. We can use these images for free. We don't have to credit the author, which is a sort of a plus. So we can type in mountain here and see what people have curated. So again, very similar images. The lighting is very contrasty. We can even type in snow, see what we got. Again, very beautiful images. These images have a lot of contrast, which is definitely something I want to incorporate into the logo. But there's not exactly one image that can summarize it for me. But this works. So I'm going to take it, save image as. I'm doing web page complete. So I'm going to click it again. Download, it's going to open a separate link. And then we'll save this. Ski World. Bada beam, bada boom. Let's see what else we can search for. So notifications. In this case, it's a bit of a more niche term. Nothing I'd see that could relate to Ski World. But again, this is an interesting image. How we have one main composition. And then this little circle with a number up top. Now it could resemble notifications, but if you use it as an icon inside of an icon, it's going to get pretty trippy. Because your icon might have notifications, and then you have this logo with notifications. So it's just going to be two numbers, confuses the users, and doesn't serve a purpose in the long run. So nothing we need here. So let's try something else. We have hotspots. So maybe unique destinations. A bucket list, that's actually a pretty interesting term, but our client never used that term, so we're not going to use that. Oh, we actually have Google Maps here. So maybe we can actually use the pins because Google Maps almost plans your locations and your trips. So let's see if we can find pins. Pins travel. Or almost location pins. Physical pins. Traveling pins. I'm not sure what the keyword for that is. Traveling pins. Also not much. So let's just go back to Google Pins. Also, we probably should have saved that image because that was a pretty good reference, but I think we can remember that for now. Traveling pins. It's almost pretty much like this, right? Because it shows off a location. So I'm going to keep that in mind and go all the way up. Let's try a different keyword. So nomads. This almost reminds me of digital nomads. But again, not much we can use here. Backpack could be pretty interesting, but again, it kind of shows off more traveling than professionals who would look to ski. So let's actually go to skiing, see if there's anything on that. And see, I'm just basically quickly testing ideas, not looking at other designers' work. I'm just trying to see where we could almost be inspired from. Or what kind of elements we could bring together, because we might like the contrast in one image, the colors in another image, and the composition in another. And then if we simplify each one of those and put it in an icon, we have an original logo. So with skis, there's not much again. And again, we'd be excluding someone from it. Again, love the golden colors. We have mountains here, which also shows a contrast on white and black. Let's do snowboarding, see what we got. This is an interesting image of the actual goggles, which could be a pretty cool composition. So I'm going to save the image as. And it's less of the goggles, but I'm looking for composition as well. And I use that term so much, and I probably should explain it. Whenever I'm looking for a logo, I'm not instantly looking for the final composition or how it's going to look in the very end, but I'm trying to see its visual form, right? So if I looked at it from far away and squinted, what shape or form would I see from it? So I had pins in the back of my head. I have mountains in the back of my head. Mountains I'm a bit iffy on. And these glasses could actually work pretty well. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Because I don't know how the color is going to work inside, if there's going to be something inside, how the text is going to look. But the actual form, the form's pretty recognizable to be glasses that you use for snowboarding or skiing. So that actual form is a pretty valuable thing. And you'll see that most great logos fit into some kind of form, whether that be circular or rectangular. It fits into some type of composition. I've rarely seen a logo that just has these sprayed out elements all over the place. It's usually very compact and fits into some kind of form. Simplicity is key in this case. Ooh, look at those cats. So we got that in. We have clouds as well, because we're kind of showing weather, but I think that's way too much related to weather, right? Let's just go back, see if there's something else we can do. Let's try exploring, and then we'll start delving into exploring data types. Exploring. Exploring. What do we have? This would actually be something great to search on Tumblr. But exploring again. Exploring uses these types of fonts that look handmade, so that'd be a pretty interesting thing to reference. But because we also mentioned data-driven, we don't want to be too homemade, because this is a professional site, right? This is a professional site that curates services. So a rustic element might not work, but it's good that we explored that direction. These would be pretty cool, actually, having like one of these badges, as though you went somewhere and collected a sticker or almost something, for almost like you reaped a reward for exploring this place. So I'm gonna pin that. These signs could work pretty well, but scaled down they wouldn't look too great. Go outside and explore. Silhouettes. I like silhouettes. Silhouettes tell the story without showing all the detail. That's usually works. That's usually a key for logos, really. Topographical images. But most of these images are starting to relate just to compass. No. Alright, that's pretty much that on that. Let's see if there's anything for data visualization, which could be pretty cool. What do we have here? Oh boy, so there's a lot here. So we have charts, but I'm not too interested in charts. So that doesn't show exploration. That shows like mathematics and data driven. These look pretty cool. Maybe we can combine these with the element of slopes somehow. Let's actually keep that. And also these bubbles, right? Could work. Ski World, save that in. Let's keep looking. We have gradients, that's pretty cool. Flow charts. But like also keep in mind, like it'd be very easy just to go, these circles, just put them all together. It shows data driven, it shows different users, and it's very easy just to almost lie to yourself that this makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, it might not. So try not to go too abstract, and also think about scaling the logo. This logo is going to have to work on an iOS icon, which is very, very small, and it might just expand to be a plain wrap. You never know. So don't try to go very, very minute with these very tiny lines that lead into very tiny text. Try to avoid that. These are very interesting symbols. This would actually be pretty cool. We have a mind map, organic, but it could also look like a snowflake. Would be a pretty cool idea. But in our case, we're not doing a mind map, but still, pretty good idea. The rest doesn't make too much sense for me, so it won't make too much sense for the user. We have, again, a lot of here is designer's work, so I don't feel too comfortable just nicking ideas. But we kind of get the elements here. There's a lot of small elements, and all of those stacked up make these really cool data-driven sites. But I'm not interested in small elements. They scale poorly. But maybe like a pie chart would work. A pie chart that forms a mountain. Decent idea. We can put that in. So I think we're coming to a close in what we want to try. So let's just go back to pins one more time. Pin map. Let's see what we get there. Yes, we got these pins. I'm going to save this photo. And that's pretty much all I care about for mood boards. We went pretty much through our entire creator brief, got the most important part, the CEO values, what the client offers, what the actual user cares about, and we put them all together. And in Adobe Bridge, probably, it's such a great application. I'm really unsure why people give it so much hate. We can scale up, scale down, see our images in full width. Even in film strip mode, we can go one by one. And we'll pretty much be using these images to create our logo. And again, as a student, I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. When you search for references, search for photography, search for stories, go outside. don't look at Dribbble and just start looking at what other people made, right? Because it's very easy just to go on Pinterest, let's say, and just type in designs at the end of your logo, or go to Dribbble, right? You can go on Dribbble, and let's say that we're making a car racing logo, right? We can type in car logo, instantly be shown the best work that's ever been created. We can easily just look at some of these designs and just get into a rut, because we can't ever live up to our own designs to a design that's already been created, because our design hasn't been created. So it's like comparing unfinished work to polished work that they might have spent months on. So take it easy, avoid looking at finished work, and just look at other forms of inspiration, right? And that's how you would develop your unique voice. And your unique voice is what makes you unique, obviously, and it's what's going to get you more work in the future, because you're doing something that others can't. And this unique style and this unique perspective on the world. Take it very lightly on yourself. Have fun with this. Search for keywords, search for ideas. Look at stuff that you like. Why do you like the contrast in these images? Or in my case, why am I so drawn to these golden and black colors? Think about it. And once you think about it and reflect it, you'll create stunning work. So in the next chapter, we'll start creating our work, start refining, start doing some artboards, some vectoring, and it'll be pretty fun. So I'll see you in the next lesson.